exposure on MTV led to radio airplay, and together, both led to record sales. While all that was good news, the music channel had another big problem. It had no revenue. Advertisers were still staying away. MTV was burning through its startup cash, and staff worried it might be shut down before it really got going. So MTV hired ad man George Lois to create an advertising campaign to get the music channel on the map with Madison Avenue. Lois, an original madman, suggested the slogan, "I want my MTV." He figured kids would use that phrase to bug their parents to subscribe. And when enough homes signed on, advertisers couldn't ignore the music station any longer. Then Lois said he needed a big rock star in the launch commercial, and he wanted Mick Jagger. So MTV sent Les Garland, the head of programming, to negotiate with Jagger. Garland's pitch was simple. All Jagger had to say on camera was, "I want my MTV." Mick said sorry, the Stones don't do commercials. But Garland said he noticed that Jovan Fragrances had sponsored the Stones' recent tour, and that the sponsorship had involved a lot of advertising. Jagger protested, saying the reason they did that was because they got paid a lot of money. Garland said, "So what you're saying, Mick, is that you do commercials for money," which got a small laugh out of Jagger. Then Garland said, "We don't have any money. But if this is about money, Mick, I'll give you $1, and threw a $1 bill on the table. Jagger looked at it, smiled, and said, "I like you, Les. I'll do it." And with that, MTV was saved.
I want my MTV.
Once Jagger was in, that meant Billy Idol was in.
I want my MTV.
And Pete Townsend was in.
I want my MTV.
And David Bowie was in.
I want my MTV.
And the Police were in.
I want my MTV.
And Pat Benatar was in.
Call your cable company and say, "I want my MTV."
And viewers did. With their favorite bands endorsing MTV, subscriptions exploded, ad revenue started to pour in, and the music business changed forever. The videos were like ads for the artists and songs, and those ads played over and over again. MTV made another lasting impact on the music business. It ushered in branding. Now an artist's popularity didn't just depend on the music anymore. It also hinged on their image. Bands now had to build their brands. Many argue that MTV was a marketing vehicle that valued image over talent. That fear was fully realized when top video act Milli Vanilli was discovered to be lip-syncing their songs. They were models posing as singers, and it exposed the underbelly of the new image-driven world of music videos. Yet, to refuse to do videos was to miss out on the music marketing vehicle of the era. Madonna, Duran Duran, and Bon Jovi all sold millions of records thanks to videos. New directors and editing techniques emerged, as did visual effects, vivid colors, sexuality, and odd juxtapositions that would go on to influence movies and television. MTV pulled the record industry out of its slump and became a hot TV destination as audiences sat mesmerized in front of their TVs all day long. But unbeknownst to MTV, it was about to hit the motherlode.
You're listening to an archived episode of Under the Influence. If you're enjoying this show, you might also like Look What They've Done to My Song, Ma, Season 2, Episode 6. You'll find it in our archives wherever you listen to podcasts.
Michael Jackson had released an album called Thriller in November of 1982. The first 3 hit singles had videos: The Girl Is Mine, Beat It, then Billie Jean. The Thriller album had already been on the charts for a year and had finished its run. But then Jackson did something that had never been done before. He shot a 15-minute mini-movie for the title song. Most video budgets hovered around $50,000. Thriller would cost $500,000. It generated so much press that it became the first video MTV ever paid for. Actually, they paid $250,000 for a 45-minute documentary on the making of Thriller, which culminated with the 15-minute video. It would become the most successful video in MTV history. Every hour, complete with a countdown to each airing. MTV had taken an album that was already a year old and turned it into the best-selling album of all time. And with that, MTV proved once and for all that technology was the new rock star. When the internet arrived 10 years later, digital technology turned everything upside down. Suddenly, bands could market their music directly to fans. The need for a middleman became less important, and record companies struggled to stay relevant. The internet also allowed for file sharing, so fans could access music without paying for it. That led to a high-profile lawsuit where Metallica not only sued file-sharing site Napster and 3 universities for allowing students to trade MP3s, but they also sued 20 of their fans for illegal distribution of their music. The upheaval in the music industry turned ugly and out of control. Then, in January of 2001, Apple introduced iTunes. iTunes imposed a sense of order for the online music world. Steve Jobs believed that people didn't inherently want to steal music. So, Apple charged 99 cents per song, or $1.29 if the song was a hit, using, of course, the pricing psychology of nines. Bands like U2 did more than put their songs on iTunes. They leveraged it to market their music. Apple issued a special black and red U2 iPod in 2004, and Bono offered up U2 for an iPod commercial. Bob Dylan did a free TV commercial for iPod just to get the exposure for his new album Modern Times, which resulted in his first #1 record since 1976. Billions of downloaded songs made iTunes the #1 music retailer in the world, complete with its own music chart. Then, in 2005, technology recorded its next historic beat. It was called YouTube. YouTube founder Javed Karim stated that one of the inspirations for YouTube was another member of the Jackson family, not Michael, but the infamous Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction on the 2004 Super Bowl. He had trouble finding a clip of it online, and that led to the idea of a video sharing site. The impact of YouTube on the marketing of music was unprecedented. Maybe the most indicative story is Canada's own Justin Bieber. He was discovered on YouTube. His mother had uploaded a series of videos so friends and family could see 13-year-old Justin singing.
1, like a dream come true. 2, I just wanna be with you. 3, girl, it's plain to see that you're the only one for me.
The videos.
this? You didn't cook that in front of me. That's a lie. That is a lie. That was a prepared turkey that some PA did.
Okay, you said that Guy Fieri has to eat at dives. Dives are incredible. Winnipeg is chock-a-block full of dives. Like, if you say you don't like a dive, you have not been to VJ's. Dives will change your life.
Alan will give you the last word here.
Watching Bobby Flay lose is fun for me.
Fair enough. That's the bare knuckle round, everybody. Nice. It's time now for the firing line. In my hand, I have a list of questions on baking and cooking shows, brought to you by the number 3.14159. If you don't get that joke, no pie for you. Finish this classic Gordon Ramsay quote.
Okay, plug your ears.
Finish this classic Gordon Ramsay quote. This lamb is so undercooked, it's doing what? Mike.
Raring to go.
You really went the other way.
I went as punny as I could.
Alan?
It's bad.
There it is. The actual quote is actually pretty funny. Gordon Ramsay said, "This lamb is so undercooked, it's following Mary to school." It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
According to Atlas Obscura, there is evidence that cooking competitions started as early as the 9th century. Where did this take place? Mike?
CBC.
Hosted by a young Rex Murphy.
I believe he was still old.
Yeah. Alan?
The Last Supper. Jesus won, Judas didn't like that, and that's what happened.
That was hosted by a young Rex Murphy.
The cooking competition actually took place in Baghdad. Yeah, that's exactly what that deserved, audience. That is the firing line, everybody. Just about time for our Gas Station Arts Center audience to pick a winner, but first, here again to tell us why watching cooking or baking shows is like spending an eternity in hell's actual kitchen for him. It's Mike Delamont.
Baking shows bring out the worst in us. We aren't watching Kevin from Birmingham, England make the perfect Earl Grey Napoleon. That's not why we're watching. We are watching specifically to see Susan's face just drop when Paul Hollywood and Mary Berry, like two spray-tanned drunk moms, tell her that his sponge is overbaked. It's worth every minute. It's beautiful. It doesn't bring out the best in us. Competition divides us, but teaching people to cook brings us together. Watching Baking with Babish on YouTube taught me how to make everything from gyoza to chicken wings. It is exciting, and that is real. Cooking competitions aren't real. They have to manufacture the excitement for it to be interesting. Do you think Chopped would be as high stakes if they had more than one ice cream machine? No, it wouldn't. It'd be boring. Teaching someone to cook gives them a skill that they will always use. It makes you appreciate the small restaurants that do it every day. So while Alan wants you to sit at home and watch people fight over who makes the best meringue, I will be traveling this great country of ours, eating food that is cooked by wonderful cooks, and I will eat it at every diner, drive-in, and dive. I thank you.
Mike Delamont. Very solid points there. Once again, to set the table with what he loves about cooking and baking shows, it's Alan Shane Lewis.
Now, for my last and most important point, I can sit here and talk to you about how cooking and baking competitions bring us together, and that it's a warm hug in an otherwise cold and frightening existence of uncertainty. But no, I want you to focus on how these shows have hosts. And these hosts get paid for hosting those shows. Helping hosts finally achieve their lifelong goal of having a comma in their bank account. And potentially, maybe even 2 one day. 2 commas, 2 commas, 2 commas. Thank you so much.
Alan Shane Lewis appealing to the would-be baking hosts out there. Audience, it is up to you to pick a winner by applause. Who agrees that Alan's convection conversation deserves a chef's kiss? Alan Shane Lewis. A lot of nice support for Alan. And who agrees with Mike that they also have no stomach for these cooking and baking shows? Mike Delamont. Okay. The audience has spoken, and the winner is Alan Shane Lewis. Cooking and baking shows are the best on TV. Big hand for Alan Shane Lewis and Mike Delamont, everybody.
You're listening to The Debaters on CBC Radio 1. If you want to listen to our program live or on demand anytime, make sure you download the CBC Listen app. And now, back to Steve Patterson.
Hey, Winnipeg, are you ready to meet your next pair of debaters? Then we've got a great one for you. This comic was once ordered by a judge to issue an 8-word written apology, which was a pretty light sentence. It's Sean Cullen! Sean Cullen, everyone! Veteran debater, Sean Cullen. And this comic's story about stopping a horse turned into a tale of whoa! It's Steph Tollive! Steph Tollive! One of our very favorites, making her way to my right. Your topic is one for the fashionistas. V-neck versus turtleneck. Which one reigns supreme? Growing up, my favorite was the Star Trek uniform, which was a combo of a shallow V-neck over a mock turtleneck. Which is illogical, so I don't know how they got Spock to wear it. I was hoping to see more neck in the later series, Star Trek The Next Generation. Wow. But I had to wait for Star Trek Deep V9.
Oh, okay.
Now, for a debate that boldly goes where no debate has gone before, whereas it's form-fitting, warm, subtly suggestive, and soft to the touch. What am I talking about? Be it resolved, the turtleneck is sexier than the V-neck. Sean, you have the enviable job of arguing for this. You have 2 minutes, please. Sean Cullen.
Oh. Thank you, friends. The turtleneck. A garment of mystery, sensuality, and refinement. Immediately, upon seeing a human being wearing a turtleneck, you find yourself asking, well, hello. Who is this debonair and fashionable individual? Are they working on some clandestine mission that requires both ruthlessness and guile? Oh, yes! There's the old Uncle Joe's flat. Good day, Ian.
Good day, fictional Australian character. Strangely, it's none of those. It's called a skivvy.
Oh.
Skivvy.
A skivvy?
A skivvy. Esquire.com says that when men wear a V-neck or a turtleneck, they should pair it with what? Steph.
A match and some gasoline.
It's pretty hard.
I hate turtleneck so much, if you couldn't tell.
I'll give you a point. Sean Cullen.
Turtle-leg pants. They end like turtle's feet.
2.5 points. Esquire.com says they should pair a V-neck or turtleneck with another top. Stupid. That's the firing line, everybody. What a magical time we are almost at. We're almost at the end of this, and it's just about time for our theater audience to pick pick a winner. But first, here again to remind us that everyone should just take the plunge and go ahead and wear a V-neck. Let's hear again from Steph Talev.
Have you ever been in the heat of passion and watched someone get stuck in an article of clothing? Grunting, sweating, bending in positions you really didn't need to see. It's like that time you accidentally saw a birthing video and were like, that thing's too big to get through that tiny hole. You look like a wet pug stuck in a Pringles can. I don't want my foreplay to look like that. Now, if that was a V-neck, all you'd have to do is simply bend over and tie your shoe. The party would get started. All turtlenecks are heinous. I don't know what to tell you.
Steph Talev, ladies and gentlemen. Going the extra mile to drive the point home. Thank you, Steph. Now here to assure us that when it comes to telling us about the turtleneck, he's not dickying around. Glad you got it. Here's Sean Cullen.
There's those who say the turtleneck is not sexy. It's too constrictive. Well, they might say that the turtleneck it's frumpy. They're wrong. They're so damn wrong. The name itself is a testament to its sexiness. The rest of the turtle is concealed within a hard, impenetrable shell. But the neck of the turtle is poking out to see the world. The neck of the turtle is the most vulnerable part. And what, my friends, is more sexy than vulnerability? Nothing. Also, it makes your head resemble a penis. Thank you.
Sean Cullen. Sean Cullen with a surprisingly subdued, somehow sultry argument on behalf of the turtleneck. Audience, it is up to you to pick a winner. Who was taken by Sean taking up the triumph of the turtleneck? Sean Cullen. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And who enjoyed Steph Talev debating on the V-neck? Steph Talev. Well, we're going to give this one to Steph Talev and the V-neck. Big hand for Steph Talev and Sean Cullen, everyone. He is angry. That's all for this week. I'm Steve Patterson saying whether or not you wear turtlenecks, I just hope sometime I'll argue with you again soon, Canada. Good night.
The Debaters is created by Richard Side. This week's episode was produced by Graham Clark, Nicole Callender, Katie Ellen Humphreys, and Josh Bailey. With technical production by Will Howie and Joe Dudich. And Tracy Rideout is the executive producer of CBC Radio Comedy. Hey Debaters fans in Stratford, Ontario. We're coming for 2 shows on September 8th and 9th. For details, visit cbc.ca/thedebaters.
All praise the mighty offset spatula, used by bakers and sand sculptors alike to create magnificent masterpieces of both sweet, buttercream, and sand. From this day forward, Sunday evening shall be dedicated to honoring the offset spatula with new seasons of both the Great British Baking Show and Race Against the Tide. Celebrate Offset Spatula Sundays, starting at 7 on CBC and CBC 10.
Hugging a friend, dancing with a stranger, curling up with a loved one. The pandemic has taught us the importance of touch. Though that's no surprise to a professional cuddle couple who charge by the hour for the comfort they share. Touch on Now or Never. After the news.
From CBC News The World this hour, I'm Julianne Hazelwood. We start in Pakistan. Nearly 1,000 people have been killed in ongoing flash floods and torrential monsoon rains. The country is asking for international help as more than 30 million people have been affected since June. Many have lost their homes and have nothing to eat. Pakistan's climate change minister Sherry Raymond says rescue teams are having a hard time reaching cutoff areas as much of the country's infrastructure is underwater.
We've had an unprecedented level of torrential downpours in a series of super flooding monsoons that have actually just carried on one after another cycles instead of abating after 3 or 4, which is the norm.
The monsoon rains are expected to continue into next week, mainly in the south and southwest of Pakistan. Ukraine says Russia is continuing to shell the grounds of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, even after a fire cut power to the plant needed to keep safety systems functioning. Ukraine's president says disaster was averted only because backup generators came online. Sergio Olmos has more from Zaporizhzhia.
New round of shelling at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, as Ukraine's state energy company says, quote, the infrastructure of the station has been damaged. There are risks of hydrogen leakage and sputtering of radioactive substances, and the fire hazard is high. Volodymyr Zelensky has said that Russia has brought Europe to the brink of nuclear disaster. Ukrainian authorities have taken the step of distributing iodine tablets to people living within 35 miles of the nuclear plant, an area that contains an estimated 400,000 people. Meanwhile, the International Atomic Energy Agency has assembled a team to visit the plant as early as next week that includes its chief, Rafael Mariano Grossi, and 13 staff members from various countries, none of which from the United States or Great Britain, in order to show impartiality. Sergio Olmos for CBC News, Zaporizhzhia, Ukraine.
Members of Montreal's Ukrainian community gathered last night to honor Emile Antoine Roy, a Canadian man who died while fighting with Ukrainians against Russian invaders. Sharon Yunin-Reynolds reports.
Dozens filled the pews last night at a traditional Ukrainian mass for Emile Antoine Roy. Michael Schweck is president of the Quebec chapter of the Ukrainian Canadian Congress. He says this is the community's final goodbye to him.
We are eternally grateful for him. He will go down as one of the heroes of the Ukrainian nation.
Roy left Montreal at the end of March. He arrived in Poland first and transported medicine to Ukraine. Later, he joined the fighting. His mother has said he wanted to protect children. He also wanted to fight against what he called crazy leaders. She found out about his death from his friend, an American volunteer in Ukraine. Marina Ivanitska says she wanted to pay her respects.
Even if he was not Ukrainian, he still went there because he felt this urge to do something. It was really courageous.
She says her community will never forget him. Sharon Yunin-Reynolds, CBC News, Montreal.
A critical shortage of nurses has forced 2 of New Brunswick's largest hospitals to cut back service in their emergency rooms. Unless the patient faces a life-threatening condition, they're asked to stay away from the Moncton Hospital and the St. John Regional Hospital. Margaret Melanson, Horizon's interim president and CEO, says it's an unprecedented situation.
I don't recall the urgency of this messaging in the last several years. This issue of COVID, as well as the particular circumstances that we've experienced now over this summer.
Health officials are suggesting patients contact telecare at 811 if they're unsure whether their condition requires emergency care. Hospitals across Canada have been dealing with critical staff shortages this summer. And that is your world this hour. Remember, you can listen to us live on your mobile device using the CBC Listen app. For CBC News, I'm Julianne Hazelwood.
Here is your weather forecast for London. Fog patches dissipating early in the day, then sunny skies. A high of 27 degrees, but humidex will make it feel like 30 degrees during the day. Tonight, clear skies and a low of 12 degrees. And in Kitchener-Waterloo, fog patches dissipating early in the day and then sunny skies as well. A high of 25 degrees and humidex will make it feel like 27. Tonight, clear skies with fog patches developing after midnight and a low of 11 degrees is expected overnight. And that's a look at your weather for today.
This is Now or Never. I'm Trevor Deneen.
And I am Ife Chiwetelu here on CBC Radio. Let me just
What is happening?
turn the pages in this notebook and we'll get started.
What are you doing?
I don't know what you're talking about, Trevor. Just join me in pouring myself a glass of water.
Evie, explain yourself.
Trevor, we have been working apart for almost 2 years now, and these soothing sounds have been known to stimulate the parts of the brain associated with touch. And before the pandemic, we worked like side by side within arm's reach of each other. And it's been almost 2 years since that's been our reality. So I am doing this for the sake of our socially distant working relationship.
Simply by having them nearby to pet or cuddle or just to play with. And it's a job Isaac is especially suited for. What would his job entail? Like, what does it entail on a day-to-day basis?
So he visits a few different floors of the hospital. All of the visits are set up by child life specialists and medical staff. So there actually has to be a written referral written by their medical staff authorizing the visit with Isaac. So he basically write a prescription almost that says you get dog time, and then the kids are brought in one at a time right now on different floors. We kind of have different setups. Probably his favorite setup is the sofa. Likes the sofa, so we load him up on the sofa, we tuck a little kid under his head, and he lays his head in their lap for their visit. Usually they get sort of 10-15 minutes, and there's some tickling and whispering in the ears, and like good belly rubs and stuff. Sometimes staff are in the room at that point trying to assess something, sort of trying to figure some stuff out for their treatment plan, and this is a more relaxed setting to do that in. And then we literally lift his head up like dead weight, and we remove the child, and then we tuck another one in and we lay his head back down. And he's different with every kid though. So depending on how comfortable kids are with him, sometimes he'll curl up and make himself really small if he knows that they're a little more stressed. Sometimes, like with friends that he sees weekly, he stretches right out. He's right across that kid's lap, right in their face, looking for belly rubs, kind of reconnecting, catching up on the week that, what have they done in the last week since they saw each other last? But he's different with every kid, and every kid needs something different from him.
When you talk about helping people and the different kids you've helped, is there a child that comes to mind right now, a patient who Isaac has helped recently and has really kind of made just kind of like light up or feel better?
Oh man, Isaac has a best buddy. That's my little buddy Darby. And we've heard the great news that this afternoon, Isaac's little buddy is actually heading home. Hi, Darby. Oh, Isaac's been alive. He remembers. I hear there's big news. What's the news?
Home today.
You get to go home.
And I'm already treatment.
Hi, my name is Caitlin. Darby is my son. At the beginning of November, we found out that Darby had a tumor, and it was in his brain. We found out that it was cancer. It had grown to a large size and needed to be removed, and he's going through radiation and chemo. And today's a very special day. We're going home after about 3 months being in the hospital and being at Ronald McDonald House. Darby first met Isaac about a week after he had his surgery. He was, I don't want to say depressed, but he was definitely not himself after surgery. Given the chance to see Isaac, he was very excited about it because he loves animals very much. We got him on a stretcher and brought him to where Isaac was in the hospital. And at this point, after surgery, Darby hadn't smiled at all. He was definitely not himself. But once he saw Isaac and was able to sit down, and when he was able to pet him for the first time, he had this great big smile on his face.
Oh, you must be so excited to go home.
His fluffy, fluffy ears.
He's got fluffy ears?
Yeah, he's got fluffy, floofy ears.
Fluffy, floofy ears.
I think Isaac is enjoying your scratches there. I think he likes that.
He is one happy dog.
It felt like I had my little boy back. It felt like he was there, like that he could be happy again, that things would get better.
Do you think Isaac helped a lot of kids?
I don't know.
It's hard to know, right? Did he help you a bit?
He helped me quite a bit. So much.
So much.
Darby is thrilled to be going home, but I think he will miss not seeing Isaac every week, and I'm sure for Darby, like, he'll always remember Isaac.
Hi, Isaac.
Say bye, Darby.
Good puppy.
Thank you for snuggling him. Bye, guys. Safe travels home. Thank you.
You never know, we might cross paths again, so.
You never know.
Man, Isaac is like a little superhero, just swooping in and just bringing hope and joy to people. You can see beautiful photos of Darby cuddling up with Isaac, the Ottawa therapy dog, on our CBC Now and Ever website, Facebook page, and on Instagram. So go check those out. I'm gonna head upstairs and cuddle my dog now, just for a couple seconds.
This is Now or Never. I'm Ify.
And I'm Trevor, and today's all about the power of touch and the ways it can help our mental, physical, and even emotional health.
There are a couple phrases that I saw used a lot early in the pandemic. Touch starvation and skin hunger. Yeah, and just saying them now makes me think about how big that distance can be between really wanting to be touched and not being able to access it. It was hitting my fellow single people living alone quite hard.
I think to date I have not touched somebody for, I think now it's 70 days or 75 days. Like, not touched anybody. Yeah, I don't even think I've come within 6 feet of somebody in my network. I mean, my network is so small now, just like everybody else's. But in terms of actual physical touch, I haven't even touched somebody's pinky finger. Like, I haven't touched anything or anyone for 70 plus days. And there's been multiple times where I've walked down the street and I'll just see someone coming by and I just think, oh my God, if I could just, for a split second, just squeeze your hand, just to feel that connection and then keep moving, it would be wonderful. It's amazing how much I miss it right now. Honestly, because I've been ordering so much online, I mean, everybody's been coming to my door. Delivery men and women have been coming to my door delivering everything to me. And it's when they pass me the package, it's like I just feel tempted to just like squeeze their hand and just be like, hey, how are you? Thanks for this. So my name's Laura Cerrone, and I am a freelance writer based out of Toronto, Ontario. I don't think I recognized just how affectionate I am as a person until I was brought into sort of this new normal and this new reality. An ex-boyfriend used to always tease me about just how handsy I was with everyone, and it was across the board. I mean, if we were sitting across the table from each other, I can pretty much guarantee within 10 minutes I'd probably have my arm around you at some point. It's just who I am. I really express myself through my affection. My friends or my family, if they're going through a tough time, I'm always the person that will hug or put my arm around somebody or hold someone's hand. It's my sort of, I suppose, my expression of my emotion and my love. I have 6 nieces and nephews that I adore, and you know, I'm always hugging and kissing them and throwing my arms around them. That's gone. You know, it was my mom's birthday, and I went to their place just to social distance and give her a cake. And my natural inclination as I was walking towards her to give her her cake was just to give her a huge hug. And then I realized, oh my God, I can't do that. And it just felt such a sense of loss. And it made me feel sad, and it still makes me feel sad. I was just starting to feel a little bit squirrely because I thought, oh my God, I just want to feel like something is enveloping me somehow. I need to feel the weight of something on me. So I quite literally took my throw pillows, the heaviest ones I had in my home, and I kind of just sandwiched myself in between them. And I mean, it was a shoddy job, but it actually worked to make me feel almost like I was receiving some kind of affection, because I felt like something was wrapping itself around me, if that makes sense.
Tell my neighbor and order me 3 human-sized body pillows.
While you figure that out, let us play a song that is an anthem to self-love and enjoying your own company. This is Party for One by Carly Rae Jepsen.
If you didn't